After an action-packed Freedom 100 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a new leader has emerged in the 2012 Firestone Indy Lights Championship, Esteban Guerrieri. And there is the driver that will win this race. That's 2 in a row for Esteban Guerrieri and first winner of race weekend 2012 at the Speedway. Second place, Tristan Vautier, and third place, Sebastian Saavedra, look to rebound as the series heads north to the streets of Detroit. Firestone Indy Lights Detroit Belle Isle Grand Prix is next. Belle Isle, Detroit, a beautiful setting for race number 5 on the 2012 Firestone Indy Lights Championship schedule as we get set for the Detroit Grand Prix. Hi again, everyone, along with our driver analyst, Ari Lyondike Jr. I'm Mike King, and Ari, while we've got a windy day, we've got a beautiful day for racing on a very challenging 2-mile road course featuring 14 very tough corners.
Yeah, this track has a lot to offer. It's very bumpy, it's narrow, it's got a lot of very fast sections though. The biggest thing for me is the pavement changes. The car handles a lot differently on those concrete patches than on the asphalt. So we have a very challenging course, very different from Indy. So should be a spectacular race today.
Esteban Guerrieri, Ari, coming in off of a big win at Indy. He comes from the back, goes to the front. He is now the championship leader, and he's won 2 races in a row.
Yeah, he's coming off some great momentum. He's also very quick. His teammate is on pole, so this should be an interesting race. But Guerrieri definitely feeling like he's the man to beat right now.
Speaking of his teammate, Oliver Webb, for the very first time on pole in Firestone Indy Lights action. He's with the third member of our broadcast team, Jake Query.
Oliver Webb will start this race where you want to, with the entire field behind you. Your first career Firestone Indy Lights pole. Congratulations. Your mindset now heading into this race at Belle Isle.
Yeah, well, we had a really good qualifying, and hopefully it's hard to overtake here, so my mindset really is to try and pull a good gap in lap 1 or 2. Sam's team's done incredibly well. We're 1, 2, 3, 4. Sam's 50th pole, really happy to get it. My first pole this year in Indy Lights. Hopefully get a good gap, lap 1 or 2, and then we'll have to look after the tyres.
It's a bumpy course. How physical will it be?
It seems like it's the most physical qualifying I've had so far. Just in qualifying, we're only doing kind of 3 laps at a time, so we'll have to see how the race pans out. It's an hour or 40 laps, 45 laps, so it's not quite as long as the Indy cars, but we're non-stop, no pit stops, so we'll see who drops off or who doesn't.
He will start in the front position, will Oliver Webb. That's the same spot where his teammate Esteban Guerrieri finished back on Friday at the Freedom 100 in Indianapolis. Here's a look back.
Preparations continue on this carb day for the 2012 Firestone Freedom 100.
They're waiting for the green flag. Will it come out? It will, and we're racing at Indy.
They want to go 4 wide down the main straightaway.
Here comes Carboni, so Victor Carboni not wasting any time.
Look at Saavedra all the way on the inside of the wall.
Bit of a block there, you think?
Yeah.
Woo! And there's a big crash. It's 3 or 4 cars that hit, and it was the outside wall that they hit exiting turn 2. We're ready to hit green again.
Now they go 3 wide in the battle for second place. Carbone literally getting shoved into turn number 1. Throw a blanket over the top 6 cars.
Did he hit the wall there?
I think he did. I think Jakob bounced off the inside wall. And here comes Guerrieri. Guerrieri's going to work himself back into this as he tries to get around Jakob.
We have a pass for the lead here.
Yeah, it looks like Carboni's going to hold on, or will he?
No, he won't.
Here's Munoz back to the front as we go 3 wide for the lead into 1. Wow!
They split him.
Whoa, Jakob, it looks like is going to, will he win the race out of 2? Wow, he and Guerrieri up there on the wall.
Oh, then we got a spin.
Oh, we do, in the wall.
Hard contact.
That's going to Calvez.
Esteban Guerrieri will get into victory lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The number 11 machine rolling from 18th to 1st.
Sam Schmidt again.
That's 6 in a row, guys.
You know, history shows they put together a winning package.
So on a beautiful day in Detroit, we get set to go racing race number 5 on this 2012 Firestone Indy Lights schedule. Welcome to coverage on NBC Sports Network as the cars circulating around should see the green flag this time by Ari Lyondike Jr. Certainly now the tensions begin to grow just a bit. Not a huge field, only 13 cars here, but this is going to be a very competitive, very difficult, very physical 45-lap race.
Yeah, I think the keys to this race are definitely you have to be aggressive. Street course, you have to hustle the car a lot. Braking zones, very, very important to stay out front. It's very hard to pass here. 2 very big brake zones in 8 and 13. And here we go. We're coming to the start.
Oliver Webb, Tristan Vautier will bring them across the line. It's going to be Vautier who grabs the early lead, Ari, as he jumps out in front. Now, here's the tricky part of this course. Got to get the flow going early here. Very tight turns here, and we're going to wait and see if we have anyone make any move. There's Esteban Guerrieri trying to get past there in turn number 2.
Yeah,
make
Dempsey.
it 3.
Yeah, Dempsey was trying to make the move there. Look at opening laps. It's very important to be aggressive here. Look at Saavedra make the move down low on Jakomin. Jakomin's definitely falling back.
Yeah, Sebastian Saavedra, Ari, did not have a good qualifying session. He was the quickest in the second practice session, but kind of disappeared during qualifying as Sebastian Saavedra goes off 9th, and now he is racing Gustavo Jakomin. Both of these drivers placed on probation by race directors after the way they raced each other at Indianapolis.
Yeah, now Saavedra's lost a little bit of momentum. We see another driver making a move here.
That's Ostella.
Ostella on the outside. Saavedra will have the advantage going into turn 8.
Yep, so David Ostella racing Saavedra hard there as they go nose to tail through this section of the track, Ari. 8, 9, and 10 as they wind their way around the fountain area.
Yeah, this is all very tight. You can notice a different pavement. You go from concrete to asphalt, and the driver's definitely making, quick use of the different terrain here, and have to be very careful on setting up their cars for the different pavement changes.
The right-hander is turn number 13, and Ari, what has seemingly been the trickiest turn this weekend for both Firestone Indy Lights and the IndyCar drivers is turn number 14, that fast little jog through after you leave the right-hander that is 13.
Yeah, 14 is such a fast corner, and it obviously leads onto the front straightaway, so everyone's trying to get every little bit of speed out of that corner.
Yeah, there's the 77 of Tristan Vautier. Vautier, of course, won the season opener as he went from pole to checkers at St. Petersburg, and Tristan Vautier comes into this event second in the championship. But I tell you what, Ari, Race Control had decided after Indy they were going to slap some of these drivers' hands, and Victor Carboni right now trying to pull up on the 77 car. He's going to make the pass.
Yeah, he's got a great run here. He'll be on the inside for turn 8, so he has the advantage right now as long as he can brake just a little bit later.
Yeah, now, so Ari, as these guys now race each other hard on a course like this, and you see Esteban Guerrieri, our championship leader and the winner at Indianapolis, when you have received the penalties and you've been warned by Race Control for the previous race, how long does that stick in your mind, or as soon as the helmet visor goes down, you forget all about the warnings and the probation?
I think you forget all about it, but right now he has a mirror full of Peter Dempsey making a lot of good moves. Dempsey's obviously quicker in the infield, but Guerrieri's pretty late on the brakes, so he's having a hard time getting around him.
Well, what a weekend this has been for Sam Schmidt Motorsports, Ari, as those cars, Oliver Webb, Tristan Vautier, Esteban Guerrieri, and Victor Carboni went off 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was Oliver Webb who claims his first pole in Firestone Indy Lights here this weekend, getting Sam Schmidt his 50th pole since 2003. And here's the move. Peter Dempsey's going to get past Guerrieri.
Dempsey was just looking all over to find some room, and now Saavedra trying to take advantage of it. Won't be able to. It's very tight through this section.
One thing is for certain, early going here, there's nothing calm about it. By the way, that is the 26 of Carlos Munoz.
Correct,
now, as those cars are virtually identical, so it's easy to mistake them. But here comes Gustavo Jakomin. He's going to get to the inside of Munoz.
Great move on Jakomin. Saavedra behind these two cars now, trying to take advantage of the momentum lost by Jakomin making the move.
So they're going to head to turn number 7, and while or turn number 8, I should say, that Chevy corner, while they do that, and while Munoz races side by side with Jakomin, Guerrieri able to pull away just a little bit, Art.
Yeah, so Guerrieri is definitely ahead of these 3 cars, but Peter Dempsey, who just passed Guerrieri, has lost, Guerrieri's lost sight of him, if you can see up front.
Yeah, this is the battle once again for 6th place, Gustavo Jakomin. And you see him there in the yellow car with the red accents, and behind him is Munoz in the 26 car. And then in the 27 car, Munoz's teammate Sebastian Saavedra, who comes into this race 3rd in the championship. He cannot afford to find himself too far behind the race leaders. He's got to try to make his way to the front, does Saavedra.
Yeah, Guerrieri is losing a lot of time here. Now you can see that
the top group here. This is the 3 Sam Schmidt cars, and then Dempsey.
Yep.
And Dempsey's actually caught these guys, so Dempsey looks to be like one of the fastest cars on the track right now.
Okay, here's that 4, 5, 6 exchange. So once again, are a very technical part of this course.
Yeah, 4, 5, and 6 is very technical. It's very, very tight, and there's no passing really, but it's very important to come off of 6 fast, and then 7, obviously the most important corner on the racetrack as it leads onto this really long straightaway.
Peter Dempsey, the Irishman, making only his 2nd start here this season in Firestone Indy Lights. He's trying to pick up the position. He's going after Vautier.
Yeah, he's trying the outside. Very, very difficult.
Oh, look
Vautier
at that.
defended.
Well, he switched. It looked like he was going to try him on the high side. Now he switched back to the inside. Wasn't able to make the move.
Dempsey's so quick through all this tight stuff, and that's what's really lining him up for all these passes. And I got to think that right now he's the strongest car.
Well, Oliver Webb, the pole sitter, is out in front of Victor Carboni, then Vautier, who runs 3rd, and Dempsey, who is here this weekend, as we mentioned, just his 2nd start of the season, and he's running with that Unese team. And really, Ari, this team would like to keep him in this car for the remainder of the season if they possibly could. Rodin Unese, the team owner, started well back in the field, but they really like Peter Dempsey and what they're able to do. So as we watch, Oliver Webb, he is out in front. Victor Carboni runs 2nd. Tristan Vautier is 3rd at Belle Isle. Firestone Indy Lights on NBC Sports Network is brought to you by TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install. Tire Rack. With Jake Query and Ari Lyondike Jr., I'm Mike King. Welcome back to Belle Isle in the shadow of Detroit. The Belle Isle Grand Prix race weekend. Firestone Indy Lights on NBC Sports Network. Oliver Webb, first time on pole in Firestone Indy Lights, driving for Sam Schmidt Motorsports, gives that team its 50th pole since 2003 in competition. And in fact, Hari, if they can win here today, and it looks like a good bet at this point, given that Sam Schmidt Motorsports cars run 1, 2, 3, that would be the organization's 50th win in Firestone Indy Lights as well.
Oliver Webb doing an amazing job controlling the front. Right here we have
It's a
Peter
battle
Dempsey
for 3rd.
making some really good runs here every lap. Oh, I think they touched.
Yep, they did
touched.
definitely, yeah. A couple of times. That is Peter Dempsey working on Tristan Vautier. Vautier, who was penalized after the race at Indianapolis and given a stern warning by race control and basically placed on probation for the remainder of the season. And so right now, Vautier running in front of Dempsey. And Dempsey, it looks like, has had a couple of good runs on it.
I think Dempsey might have damaged his front wing. I'm looking at it. I don't see any damage, but he definitely has lost a little bit of time to Vautier. So we'll see if Dempsey can climb back. But basically, lap after lap, we saw Dempsey, you know, try to make that move into 8, but Vautier defended nicely.
Well, as they come off of 14 through the front straightaway, now we'll set up for turn number 1 as they pass pit out. It is the Lucas Oil car out in front. Oliver Webb earning his first pole, as we said, in Firestone Indy Lights with now 7 of 45 laps complete. Ari, this course is just over 2 miles in length, 14 corners. Really, though, very little time to relax. It's incredibly bumpy. You have a little bit of everything here. You've got concrete, you've got asphalt patches on concrete, you've got curbing. This one really keeps you busy.
Yeah, this one you have to hustle the car so much to get a good lap time out of it. You have so many different factors, like you said, and that whole concrete to asphalt thing that changes the balance of the car. You know, obviously the most important corner is coming off the 7 onto this long straightaway. That's where Dempsey's been very, very good. You've seen him catch Vautier into 8 every single lap. Through this section, it's very bumpy. The concrete, this double left-hander is very slick. So there's a lot of different elements here, and your car has to, you want to carry a lot of downforce to be fast through all this stuff, but you also want to, you know, have a good straight line speed for that crucial turn 7 down to the run to 8. So it's definitely a compromise, which makes it a very racy course.
Okay, well, we've got the second Unese racing car driven by Rodin Unese that is going to try to pull to the inside and get out of the way of the approaching leader traffic. And Ari, that's hard to do on this race course.
Yeah, and you see Saavedra got a little bit of a run because Jakomin got held up there. So, or sorry, Munoz. And Munoz has been all over Jakomin. So let's see if Munoz can use this to his advantage.
By the way, when we were away, we saw a great pass by Sebastian Saavedra on Esteban Guerrieri, our championship leader. That was the battle that was going on for 8th place. So Saavedra now runs in 7th place. But Ari, I know you were really impressed with the pass that he made.
Yeah, he had a really good run through 1 and passed him, you know, just going into 3. And Saavedra's taking the charge, and he's getting up to the leaders, whereas Esteban Guerrieri is struggling a little bit and falling back.
4 races this season in Firestone Indy Lights, 3 different winners, Vautier, Saavedra, and Guerrieri. And Guerrieri really trying to work on some big momentum, Ari, as he won at Long Beach and then backed it up with a big win a week ago at Indianapolis. So Esteban Guerrieri going for the three-peat, if you will, but right now he is struggling to keep the leaders in sight as he runs in 8th place.
This is a new course for all these guys, so it's a clean slate for all these drivers. Oliver Webb did an amazing job. I'm surprised that Guerrieri, with his experience, hasn't been up there with his teammates.
So you watch the leaders as they make their way off of turn number 14. This will complete 9 of 45 laps here at the raceway at Belle Isle. This is a very unique, historic facility and one of Roger Penske's real babies. This is a place that he really enjoys. Of course, Roger lives here in the Detroit area, and Belle Isle, this has been a historic playground, if you will, for the Detroit area elite at the turn of the century, from the 1800s to the 1900s. But in the mid to late 1900s really fell into disrepair, and already to some degree it was racing that helped bring Belle Isle back. And certainly when IndyCar came back to this track, a lot of improvements were made in this area, and it's once again becoming an entertainment area of prominence. But a lot of history here, including the first ever yacht club in the United States located here. As now we've got that battle once again for 3rd place heating up, and Victor Carboni in the 3-car trying now to work on his teammate Oliver Webb in the 7 for the lead.
Yeah, Carboni has been very impressive. He's reeled Oliver Webb in, and Oliver Webb is definitely feeling the pressure. So now it's really up to Webb to be very good on the brakes. The only place he's really going to get past is going into 8 and maybe going into turn 13. So basically, the brakes are crucial. You have to be consistent, and you have to come off 7 really well every lap.
Okay, Ari, we've got a couple of interesting dynamics working here with Webb and Carboni as they work on each other at times for the lead, but then behind them, you've got Vautier and Dempsey. Webb and Carboni are teammates, both driving for Sam Schmidt, but then you've got Vautier, who drives for Schmidt, and Dempsey, who drives for Unesi. How do they drive each other different when you're trying to overtake a teammate versus when you're trying to overtake an opponent who is out of another racing state?
I mean, I'd love to say that there's a lot of cooler heads, out there, but, as a driver, you just want to beat the guy ahead of you, no matter if it's your teammate or not. Now, will they take a little bit less risk? Maybe. But as we saw last year with Sam Schmidt Motorsports, a lot of incidents happen between teammates. So, don't count out that aggressive nature in every driver.
So you've got Webb out in front. He started on pole. His teammate Carboni is 2nd. Tristan Vautier is 3rd. And Dempsey is 4th as we continue at Belle Isle. Firestone Indy Lights on NBC Sports Network. It's the Detroit Belle Isle Grand Prix. And Ari Luyendyk, while we were away working lap 14, a scary incident as we had a great battle shaping up for 3rd place. And it's Peter Dempsey, as he had already cleared, made the pass as he went to 3rd, and then working on 2nd place, Victor Carboni makes wheel-to-wheel contact, Ari, as they were making the move through turn 7A, heading to turn number 8.
Yeah, that's actually the quickest part of the race course where they touch there at about 160 miles an hour. Huge impact for Dempsey. And I gotta say, this all started back in turn 7. Dempsey's okay. He's out of the car after that huge impact. And, it all sort of started at turn 7. They were trying to get around a lap car of Unesi, and it bunched up Oliver Webb, and the driver Carboni and Dempsey were looking to pass, going into the best brake zone, the best passing opportunity around the racetrack, and they touched, which was a huge impact.
So how ironic it is that Peter Dempsey, who is driving for the Unesi Racing team, is basically placed in this position because his team owner, who was also on track in the 2nd number 16 car, Rodin Unesi, had not yielded an earlier black flag to pull that car on, and as they approached Rodin Unesi, it bunched up, as you mentioned, the top 3 runners, and basically led to what happened. They're headed towards turn number 8.
Yeah, the top 4 cars bunched up, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a passing opportunity. And I know, Carboni and Dempsey were thinking the same thing, because you don't get many opportunities on a tight street course like this. So they definitely smelt the blood in the water, and they were going for it.
Well, Peter Dempsey had, and there you see his damaged car, the 15 car, being taken back to the Firestone Indy Lights paddock area. We will get set to go back to green flag racing. But Dempsey, no doubt about it, Ari, he had a good race car, and he had just gotten past Tristan Vautier to go to third place, and really had a great head of steam trying to go after Carbone, who was running second at the time. So a tough end to the day for the driver from Ashbourne, Ireland.
I really think he had the best car today. He was being very patient, but it's a shame.
Okay, so the cleanup is going to continue. When we come back, we hope to return to green flag racing here. Oliver Webb is the leader at Belle Isle. Cleanup is complete after the Dempsey incident. Peter Dempsey is okay. That's what we're happy to report. Esteban Guerrieri, our championship leader, did in fact make a pit stop during that extended yellow, and what was a 45-lap race has now become a timed race. You see at the top of your screen the race time remaining, just over 27 seconds as we are back to green flag action. Oliver Webb is going to break to the front, but now Gustavo Jacobin is right back in this thing. You see him in the yellow car as he currently runs fourth, Ari.
Yeah, clean restart for everyone. Everyone's getting through single file here. No moves being made, so I was a little surprised that Jacobin didn't make a move on the restart.
Yep, you see the back-to-back AFS Andretti Autosports cars as it has been a less than perfect weekend for Sebastian Saavedra in that 27 car, as Saavedra currently runs third, Ari, in the championship. But now with the leaders in sight, if the car's got better, he's going to have the opportunity to run to the front. But the championship leader, you see another 2 or 3 spaces back as Esteban Guerrieri in the 11 car continues to struggle just a bit.
Oh no, pass. I thought it was a pass for lead, but Webb
here he comes.
Defended the bottom. Carbone looking on the inside. Is there enough room there? Very tight through here.
Yeah, so Victor Carbone tried on the outside, then made the move to the inside. Now he's going to go back to the inside. Teammates racing very close here through 9 and 10.
Jacobin making a move. Great little move on the inside. Let's see if they can go up and under. This bunches everybody up. Look at the AFS teammates side by side.
So we kind of expected to see Gustavo Jacobin here, so he'll make his way through 13, and now Gus has gone to third place. You can expect to see him try to make up some room now once again as we come off of 14, another fast portion of this course.
Yeah, Gustavo Jacobin always good on cold tires. I thought he would make a move at the start, but now he leapfrogs into third after the first lap after the restart. Oh, look, a mistake.
That's Tristan Vautier, who has had a problem, and will he give up 2 positions or just 1 there? It looks like he'll only give up 1 position to Munoz, but now Saavedra all over the rear wing of the 77.
He was just a little late on the brakes going into 1 and lost the back end and had to correct, so that put him offline, and that's when the move was made.
Yep, once again, the big incident involving Peter Dempsey, and unfortunately the cleanup just took so long that we are now with just about 25.5 minutes remaining. The Rodinho Nessi car back to pit lane as once again Ionesi was kind of the car in the way there, Ari, before that I guess touched off was the catalyst for the incident involving Peter Dempsey, which is a car that he owns.
Yeah, Ionesi a little bit off the pace here, and if you're above 100%, 105% of the leader, they like to pull you in because it just creates an unsafe situation for the other drivers on the racetrack when you're trying to lap that car.
Yep, so here's Gustavo Jacobin in car number 3 trying to pull up on Victor Carbone. And as they fight each other, Oliver Webb right now has opened up a pretty good little lead there, 2, maybe 3 car lengths. It just looks like Oliver Webb is not able to really distance himself from the rest of the field after this restart.
Yeah, it's really tough. You know, he's got a little bit of a gap here, but one slight mistake on this bumpy, tricky course could really pull him back into the clutches of Carbone. So he has to be very careful, be very smooth, hit all his apexes, and try to focus on every single entry, exit, and exit.
So Munoz right now in the 26 car, and you see him right there in the yellow and red car as he runs in 4th place. Behind him is the 77 of Tristan Vautier, who won the season opener from pole to checkers at St. Petersburg. And then you've got Sebastian Saavedra, who won at Barber Motorsports Park a bit earlier. Then behind Sebastian Saavedra in the 27 car, you have the 11 car, that light blue and white car of Esteban Guerrieri, the winner at Indianapolis, the winner at Long Beach as well. And Esteban Guerrieri comes in with the championship lead, but has not had a championship weekend.
And Guerrieri came in to make an adjustment, and it seems to be working. So he is climbing up the order, and right now his teammates are, first and second, and obviously, and he's got his other teammate just in front of him.
I still think Gustavo Jacobin, a driver to watch here, as Gus came in 5th in the championship, and you know, at this point, Gustavo Jacquemin, the Colombian, Ari, I don't think he's thinking about the championship at all. Gustavo Jacquemin simply wants to be on the top step of the podium as many times as he can this season.
Yeah, very aggressive and looking to impress and to win, and obviously finishing on the podium is great, but I know he wants to win races, so he's looking to do that and being very aggressive.
Well, he drives the Extreme Coil Drilling Timor, and here he comes, Gustavo Jacquemin in that car, the Extreme Coil Drilling Timor racing car we talked about, and he's going to move to second, and Munoz will come with him. So Carboni, all right, just like that, shuffled from second to fourth.
Yeah, he lost a little momentum, and Munoz took advantage of that. So Jacquemin doing a very good job here, moving up to second.
Sebastian Saavedra pokes the nose there to the inside of the 77, but can't get the move made that time off of 7.
Yeah, Vautier seems to be falling back a little bit, and Saavedra is catching him as well as Guerrieri.
Now here's the section of the course, Ari, that you say is the fastest as they set up now for turn number 8. Here's Guerrieri.
Yeah, that's Guerrieri back by Saavedra. Okay, so this is good. So Guerrieri climbing up the order. Now he has his teammate right in front of him.
You saw the adjustment, Ari, during that long yellow that they made on the car. Looked like they were simply making a spring adjustment to the front of that car.
Yeah, a lot of times the smallest change can make a huge difference. And obviously he was falling back in the beginning stages of the race. We had that long yellow. Not many cars are in the race at that point. So it was a risky move, but it really has paid off. And his car is coming alive. And this couldn't be a better situation for Guerrieri because he is the point leader. He needs to make up spots.
And make no mistake, Ari, despite the fact that this has now become a timed race, we are still going to be able to see another 12, maybe 15 laps of racing. Esteban Guerrieri, no need for him to panic. He still has time to get to the front.
Yeah, right now he's P6 and the leaders are in sight. So all is good in the world. He can definitely make up some more spots, and it's going to be hard to get around Vautier, though, because he seems to have a really good pace coming off of 7, which is the corner onto the longest straightaway.
The question at this point, I think, is what does Gustavo Jacquemin have for Oliver Webb, our pole sitter? The young man from England who earned his first pole in Firestone Indy Lights. He has led every lap up to this point, but now he is going to have to hold off the crafty veteran Gustavo Jacquemin, and it's clear that Jacquemin has a race car good enough to challenge for the lead.
Yeah, Jacquemin seems to have a little less draggy of a car. I think he's pretty quick down the straightaway. If you look at Webb, he's always struggling going into 8.
Well, we've got a great battle up in front. Webb, Jacquemin, and Munoz. A great battle here at Belle Isle. It's Firestone Indy Lights on NBC Sports Network. Along with Ari Lyondike Jr. and Jake Query, I'm Mike King. Welcome back to Belle Isle. It's Firestone Indy Lights on NBC Sports Network. You've got a battle for the lead. Gustavo Jacquemin. Look at that, Ari, as he faked to the outside, then moved to the inside. Our first lead change here today.
Very great pass. He had them all set up going into 8, and then didn't happen, and he cut underneath, and this was a very difficult pass to place. Very difficult place to pass. Turn 9 on the outside.
Gustavo Jacquemin with one career win in this series to his credit. It came last year at Baltimore. That was a world-class move as he gets past Oliver Webb, who had led from the drop of the green flag here. He was our pole sitter, and Gustavo Jacquemin now begins to pull away just a bit, and now Oliver Webb is going to have to worry about Carlos Munoz.
Yeah, this is mentally very tough for a driver who's led a lot of laps. He gets past, and now he feels like he's under attack from the whole field. So we'll see if Webb can regather and catch Jacquemin, but Jacquemin's very good on street courses, and we saw that last year.
Yep, so out in front is Gustavo Jacquemin, drives for Team Moore Racing, looking for his second career victory in that Extreme Coil Drilling #2 car. But right now, the battle behind him, he really is not going to worry about that at all as he's going to run his own race. But Carlos Munoz, who comes off of a second-place finish at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, now challenges for second.
On the outside going into this brake zone, and I think he's cleared it. Yep, wow. Munoz to second. Very good move there.
Boy, so Ari Munoz carrying a lot of speed. He almost made that look easy there as he got past Oliver Webb going into turn number 8.
Yeah, Webb's downfall has seemed to have been on the brakes going into 8, and that's where everyone's gotten around him. And Munoz, after a very, very good Indy race last week at the Freedom 100, finds himself in second place.
Okay, so with Jacquemin out in front, then Munoz, who moves to second. Oliver Webb has dropped to third. Victor Carboni is fourth. Tristan Vautier is fifth. Esteban Guerrieri, and here once again is a replay of the pass as they head into turn number 8. Webb, this is the pass for the lead.
Yeah, Webb defending the bottom, but is not able to roll a lot of speed through the corner. So Jacquemin doing the up and under and actually clears it going into turn 9, which is a very hard place to pass, seeing how narrow it is.
Ari, I'm really impressed with what Gus did there, and it may have been simply a move that he made on the fly, but it almost looked like he wanted to give the impression he was going to go to the outside, then made the move to the inside after the driver committed to protect.
Yeah, and that's a typical move in racing, to where you try to have the guy on the bottom outbrake himself a little bit and go underneath, exiting the corner. But the hard part about this course is the next corner after that, turn 9, is so narrow. So to be able to complete that pass and to do that on the outside was very impressive.
Well, for much of this race, the top 3 or maybe even top 4 had run within just an eighth of a second of each other, and now as Gustavo Jacobin has made this pass to get to the front, he has now really begun to pull away. He's got a good race car.
Yeah, from the beginning of this race, it was Sam Schmidt 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we see Jacobin with Team Moore, we see Munoz with AFS Andretti, and now the Schmidt boys are playing catch-up.
Well, it looks like the Sam Schmidt party this weekend, they had celebrated their 50th career pole victory. They were hoping to celebrate their 50th career victory in Firestone Indy Lights. It looks like right now Gustavo Jacobin is asking them to maybe put the cake back in the refrigerator for a week or two, because Jacobin right now wants to put Timor Racing at the top step of the podium.
Yeah, and Saavedra here battling with Guerrieri, obviously a very tight points battle. So we'd like to see, you know, this heat up. Obviously, these drivers would like to be further up the order, but they are battling within their own points battle.
Well, Esteban Guerrieri came into this race after back-to-back wins at Long Beach and Indianapolis with a 14-point lead over Tristan Vautier. As it stands right now, the lead would still be somewhere around 11 points, 12 points, because neither driver having a particularly good day, and you know, Guerrieri still has to try to pick up some spots. He's trying to hold off the 27 car of Sebastian Saavedra.
Yeah, Saavedra trying to go high, trying to go low. Guerrieri staying in the middle of the track, making it very difficult for Saavedra to pass.
Saavedra came into the weekend with an 18-point deficit to Guerrieri. Saavedra third in the championship. Ari, the only driver at Indianapolis to do the double, to run both the Indianapolis 500 and the Firestone Freedom 100, as he is full-time in the Firestone Indy Lights and running a part-time schedule for his owner, AFS Andretti Autosport, in IndyCar as well.
It's impressive that he did the double, but his goal here in Indy Lights is to win this championship and to get that scholarship money to continue his path in IndyCar, and that's why we see him running full-time in Indy Lights.
Through turn number one, working on Esteban Guerrieri. That's the 27, that AFS Andretti Autosport entry of Sebastian Saavedra, the Colombian, as he tries to pull up on the rear wing of the Sam Schmidt Motorsports car, the Argentinian Esteban Guerrieri, who celebrated the biggest win of his career just a week ago at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but right now pulling away from the 27 just a bit.
Carbone leading this pack of Sam Schmidt cars here, or sorry, in the second position of these Sam Schmidt cars, but you know, he's also started off really strong in a lot of races and seemed to fade towards the end, so we'd love to see a little bit more consistency out of him because he's very fast.
Well, as it looks right now, there's Alain Day in car number 9. Kind of a difficult situation for Alain Day after qualifying, Ari, because he was scheduled to start in the top 4, but they found in post-qualifying tech that there was a problem with the rear wing. He was shuffled all the way back, had to start 9th. So Alain Day also losing his teammate Jorge Goncalves to an incident earlier, an onboard fire on the engine, destroyed part of Goncalves' car, and Goncalves unable to start here today.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's up 4 spots. He has lost a little bit of ground to Saavedra, so let's see if towards the closing races of this race he could close that gap.
Well, Alain Day, he's made up 4 spots on the field. It has still been a difficult day. Certainly he would have preferred to have been in his qualifying spot of 4th on the outside of row number 2. Is Alain row number 2 is Alain Day right now. The rookie is shown in 8th place. That's a good shot of Esteban Guerrieri rolling through turn number 3. Tight confines here at Belle Isle as we're racing on the streets. You see the concrete here, Ari. You race on asphalt here. This is and here comes the asphalt transition. This is a course that we hear the drivers talk an awful lot about the bumps. It is a very physical racetrack.
And the thing about this track, too, is it's very old school in the way of the street course because there's a lot of blind corners. You see a lot of our other tracks like St. Pete, you know, in Long Beach even, that they open up these apexes, whereas here you're really apexing off the wall a lot, which is very cool because it makes it very challenging for the drivers, and also there's a lot of risk versus reward going on, and if you're an aggressive driver that can keep it between the walls, you're usually very quickly.
Well, Gustavo Yackaman made the pass a few laps back and has checked out to a degree, as Yackaman right now working on a 1.5-second lead over second place Carlos Munoz. So right now you've got Team Moore Racing out in front, and you've got the second place car of the AFS Andretti Autosport driver Carlos Munoz running first and second on a day, Ari, that we thought we might see dominated by Sam Schmidt Motorsports cars that started this race 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, this is an amazing day for Yackaman. He's shown a lot of composure. He's made very good passes, and you know, he's actually controlling this race. He's got a very good gap.
Well, he kept his cool when he had to, and right now Gustavo Yackaman is closing in on his second career win in Firestone Indy Lights. He leads at Belle Isle. Welcome back to the raceway at Belle Isle Park. It's the Detroit Belle Isle Grand Prix as we are in Detroit, Michigan this weekend. Firestone Indy Lights action on NBC Sports Network, and Gustavo Yackaman now 6.5 minutes away as this has become a timed race after the lengthy cleanup for the Peter Dempsey incident earlier in this event. So with 6.5 minutes remaining, Gustavo Yackaman, Ari Lyondike Jr. now counting down, trying to maintain the pace to what he hopes will be or lead to his second career Firestone Indy Lights victory.
Yeah, Munoz is actually keeping him honest. He's actually closed up the gap a little bit here. These two far and away the quickest drivers on track. Third place, a full 3 or more seconds back. So closing stages of the race, Yackaman doesn't want to make any mistakes. He's got a very comfortable lead.
Carlos Munoz, very respectable in his last 3 Firestone Indy Lights outings for sure, as Munoz at Long Beach wound up starting 4th and bringing it home with a 5th place finish. But then, Ari, he started 3rd, wound up 2nd at Indianapolis. Right now, once again, running 2nd here today. His qualifying wasn't as good, but it's not always where you start, it's where you finish. He started 7th here today. Right now has worked him up to this 2nd spot. And Gustavo Yackaman, on the other hand, he also started a bit farther back as he went off on the outside of row number 3.
Yeah, now Yackaman's opening up a little bit more of a gap, so definitely still hustling if you watch his hands through all these slow parts of the track here. And Yackaman's been very impressive, very cool. His passes have all been very patient and very thought out. So Yackaman definitely class of the field here.
Yep, Gustavo Yackaman certainly right now showing, I think, the temperament of a veteran in this series, which he is. He's here now for the 4th year in Firestone Indy Lights. But all right, let's remember that all of these drivers, this is the first visit by Firestone Indy Lights to this layout here at Belle Isle Park.
Yeah, this is the first visit. We saw that Sam Schmidt had very good cars in qualifying, 1st through 4th. And now as the race has worn on, those cars have fallen off a little bit. And Yackaman's Team Moore machine has definitely shown to be the best car on track.
So just about 4.5 minutes remaining. As for our championship leaders, well, Esteban Guerrieri, who had won back-to-back at Long Beach and Indianapolis right now, just can't seem to get into the top 5. Ari, as he sits right now 6th. Tristan Vautier, who came in 2nd in the championship, right now runs 5th, just in front of Guerrieri, and Sebastian Saavedra, 3rd in the championship, runs 7th. So all of those cars, and there's Esteban Guerrieri right now running just in front of Sebastian Saavedra, as these guys, they got the championship on their mind. They cannot give away points at this point of the season.
And I've been watching this battle too, and Saavedra is definitely a lot quicker in some sections, but Guerrieri seems to have the advantage when it comes to in here into this braking zone. He's been holding off Saavedra, and he's a lot quicker through all the very tight stuff, whereas Saavedra looks to be good through the faster corners, like entering 1 and 2 and 3.
Well, Ari, the good news for Esteban Guerrieri is he has a day where he is probably not going to see the podium. The good news for him is it looks like the story is the same for Vautier and Saavedra, as right now those 3 cars basically run all together, 5th, 6th, and 7th place.
Yeah, this is really going to change up the dynamic of the championship, because it's going to bring some of the guys like Yackaman and Carboni a little bit up further, closer to the leaders, but it isn't going to change the order as much.
Well, Yackaman has the opportunity to pick up a position and 13 points on the championship leader, but looks like Gary Airy would basically leave here with the same lead that he came with over the 77 of Tristan Vautier. He came in with a 14-point lead, Ari. If everything stays the same right now, he'd leave with a 12-point lead, so no real damage done to him.
Right, exactly. And in the same case scenario for Saavedra, who would still be third place in this championship.
Well, it looks like the white flag will be displayed to the field this time by again. This turned into a timed race after when we were working lap 14. Peter Dempsey with a huge shunt as he got up and over the rear tire of Victor Carbone and made contact, heavy contact, in turn number 8. We're just happy to report that Peter Dempsey is okay. Here he is, Gustavo Jacquemin. He has been impressive today, worked his way through the field, and he'll come through turns 13 and 14 and now work his way to the white flag for the final lap of this race. Gus was really happy when he won for the very first time, and there it is. Paul Blevin will wave the white flag. He was really happy when he won at Baltimore, and I've got to assume that he is really going to be pleased with the way he was able to handle himself here today when he gets out of the car.
Now, when you're a driver and you're coming to the white flag like this, he's got a little bit of a gap, but Munoz is not very far behind, so you don't want to make any big mistakes. You want to make sure you come off of the very important turn 7, which leads onto the straightaway quickly, because that is going to be Munoz's best chance for a pass.
Well, you've got the veteran running in front of the rookie. Munoz, as we told you, started 7th. Both of these drivers hailing from Colombia. So right now, Colombian drivers have been very strong in Firestone Indy Lights this year. But you're right, Ari. I tell you what, Munoz is pedaling hard here on this final lap. He has significantly narrowed the lead that Gustavo Jacquemin had coming to the white flag.
Now, this is all very tight here, 10, 11, 12. This is going to be the corner right here. Coming into 12, he needs to get through here quickly, because 13 is another passing opportunity, and he looks like he might have a run.
Boy, look at this.
Munoz.
He's going to try to come to the inside. He's not close enough yet. This is 13, the right-hander, Ari, and suddenly we've got a race to the checkered flag.
Very, very close here. These drivers are pedaling hard. Munoz is putting his head down for sure.
Through 14, here's the final run to the checkers. Carlos Munoz made it interesting in the end, Ari, but Gustavo Jacquemin holds on and wins it by 0.16 of a second. A pair of Colombians battling hard to the checkered flag as Webb winds up 3rd, Carbone 4th, Vautier is 5th. It turned out to be a great final lap.
Yeah, it was a great lap. I think Jacquemin didn't want to make many mistakes, and I think he underestimated the lead he had a little bit there. And Munoz did a very good job of closing that gap and making it an interesting race at the finish.
Wow, so he outraces a fellow countryman to the checkered flag, and I got to admit, that surprised me. I thought Gustavo Jacquemin was far more comfortable in terms of the lead on that final lap, but boy, Munoz decided he was going to make it interesting there in the end. Makes up a lot of ground, but just not quite enough, and it looks like Gustavo Jacquemin has decided that he needs a donut break after this race.
He's got the crepes and waffles on the side of the car, and now he needs to make some donuts.
Yep, so then he thought better of it as he tried to light him up and then thought, no, you know what, I'm going to take her to victory lane. Gustavo Jacquemin celebrates at Belle Isle Park, the winner. Welcome back. It's the Detroit Belle Isle Grand Prix at the Raceway at Belle Isle Park in Detroit, Michigan. Firestone Indy Lights on NBC Sports Network, and Gustavo Jacquemin is the race winner. That means through 5 races in 2012, he becomes the 4th different driver to climb to the top step of the podium. Carlos Munoz, a great drive, particularly that final lap as he closed the gap dramatically, just not quite enough to get him in 12 or 13. Webb winds up, Oliver Webb winds up running 3rd, then Victor Carbone. Tristan Vautier winds up 5th, and Esteban Guerrieri, our championship leader. Let's hear from our winner. He stands by on pit lane with our Jake Query.
This will be an incredibly popular victory. He came into victory circle and did so with the flag of his native country for the 2nd time. The man from Colombia, Gustavo Jacquemin, is a winner in the Firestone Indy Lights. His first win came, of course, a year ago in Baltimore, the streets of Baltimore, and now here at Belle Isle Park in Detroit. Gustavo Jacquemin has won, and first and foremost, let me say congratulations. Welcome back to Victory Circle, and that was a heck of a pass for the lead.
Man, I got no words. It was an insane race. I wasn't fired, but it hadn't been because of all these guys. You know, all these guys, they're part of all this car. They built it from scratch. They've done a great job. You know, I don't know where Mike Culliver is, my engineer, but man, he's a wizard, and I cannot do anything of this without them.
So this is a Team Moore Extreme Coil Drilling and Crepes and Waffles team victory, I guess.
It is, man. We work as a team, we lose as a team, and we win as a team. And I cannot thank this guys enough for the great race car they gave me today.
Part of an excitable run for the Freedom 100 in Indianapolis, and now an excitable driver, Gustavo Jacquemin, a winner again in the Firestone Indy Lights.
So heading to the next race on the 2012 Firestone Indy Lights schedule, Milwaukee, race number 6. It will remain the same as far as our championship leaders coming into this event at Belle Isle. Esteban Guerrieri will be P1, followed by Tristan Vautier and Sebastian Saavedra. But it was Gustavo Jacquemin with the win, climbing into 4th as he picks up a spot.
Now we'll be going to Milwaukee, which is a completely different experience for these guys. Their second oval of the year on the tight 1-mile circuit.
So on a challenging street course, 14 corners, it was the Colombian, Gustavo Jacquemin, who winds up with his second career victory. Congratulations to him. Once again, next stop for Firestone Indy Lights, the Milwaukee Mile. For Jake Query and Ari Lyondike Jr., I'm Mike King. So long from Detroit.